Okay, I am sitting in the bedroom, in the cabin, and over to my right I've got all of the cables that run the mast lights, the cable that runs the anchor light, the deck light, and my red and green directional lights all come into this point over here where I've got 3 switches to turn them on and off. And so the question is, have you ever gone out for the day? You've anchored somewhere nice, you've gone out, and you thought you'd be back when the sun was shining, and you get back and the sun is not shining, and your anchor light isn't on, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking because somebody might run into your boat. So that's happened to me more than a few times, and on 2 occasions when I've anchored quite far away from where we are, you kind of struggle to find your boat. So you end up dinging around until you eventually get to the place where your boat is. So what I'd hope to do to solve both of those problems is I'm going to take this little device over here, which is a smart switch, and what this will do is it'll let me control up to 4 different circuits wirelessly from my phone or from a remote, but in this case I'm going to be doing it from my phone. You can also press these buttons, which are override buttons. And this smart switch is a little bit different. Most smart switches run on 220 volts. This one is designed for 7 to 32 volts, and you can also plug it into a little micro USB if you've got 5 volts somewhere that you want to use to power it. So this is great. So the plan is to take this device and program the first one onto my anchor light, and then I can either switch my anchor light on remotely, or I can actually just set a timer so that my anchor light turns on at sunset and turns off again the next morning, which is quite nice. But I'm going to program the next one to my deck light, because if you lose your boat, it's sometimes quite nice to turn on the very powerful deck light to be able to go and see where that is. Now I'm trying to be organized, so I've got all the tools I think I'll need on hand. Multimeter, just for in case. I've got some wire clippers, I've got some wire strippers, I've got some ferrules, I always struggle to say ferrules, which I'm going to put on the ends of the wires so that they are nice and neat and staying together for those terminals. Got some baby screwdrivers to tighten things, a pair of scissors, you never know, and this is my ferrule crimp, which came from Amazon. It was a fairly well priced one, and hopefully that's all I need, but I've never actually finished a job without getting up at least once, so let's see how that one goes. Alright, now the first job is we need to label this device, because in all the videos I've watched, in all the instructions I've got, nothing tells you which input is plus and which is minus, and there's nothing on here that gives you a label either. So I've watched a bunch of videos, and from every video I've seen, the first one is the plus and the second is the minus. So I've made myself a little label, because when I'm upside down and I'm forgetting these things, I don't want to put the wrong cable into the wrong place. So let's grab the little label, and we're going to put that label in, and I'm going to stick that there, and now we can see which one is plus and which one is minus, and I'm going to double check it again before we go any further. Alright, and the first job I need to do is take a piece of wire that'll be able to power this signal, positive and negative. So it's going to come in from the side and start at the ceiling, so probably around about that length. There we go. And we're going to have to strip a little bit off the ends. Alright, we grab the ferrule, we slide it on, and a little crimping tool. And as you can see it leaves with a nice four-sided crimp, which is perfect for screwing into little ferrules. Just to make sure it will fit in. Does appear to be a perfect fit. Let's do the other end. I did make them a bit long. I can chop those ends off if I need to. In fact, I think I will. Okay, so that's done. So let's plug it into my little Wago connectors, which I absolutely love using. So for the Wagos, you don't need to use ferrules. You can, but some people say you get a better connection without them. So I'm using no ferrules on the Wago. Alright, so Wagos are connected. And this is going here. Alright, let's tighten the one before I do the other. Okay, let's get the other one in. Okay, both sides are in tight, and then I'm going to turn the power back on briefly. Make sure that things are in the right place. So if you see some smoke, then you'll know that they're not. Alright, no smoke, I see a red light. Going to program it quickly on the app. There we go, it appears to be programmed. And now in theory I should hear these flipping on and off if I press the buttons. Here we go. Hopefully you can hear that clicking. It's the sound of relays clicking on and off. So that's the first part. The next part is to hook up the wires so that these sockets actually connect. Alright, so it's going to sit like this eventually, and if I look at my wires from left to right, where these switches go, the first one is for my red and green, the second one is for my deck light, and the third one is for my anchor light. So I'm going to do things just in that order, so that it makes the wiring neater when I do finally get these wires tidied up and get them close to the top. Because I had switches before, I need to cut these switches off and I need to put plugs onto all of those wires. If you look closely at the box, you've got a couple of different options. That says NC, COM and NO. So COM is the common port, and then you need to decide if you want the switch to typically be always on and you turn it off, or to be always off and you turn it on. I obviously want my switches to be always off, so I'm going to put one wire in the COM and the other in the NO, normally open section. And I'm going to do that 3 times. So let's go. Alright, so this is all fairly simple stuff. I've got to clip these wires and I've got to put little connectors on the end of each of them. So I'll do that in rapid fire mode. Pause for a quick interlude, yeah? If you're wondering why some of these wires are black and some of them are white, it's because I redid all the wiring in my boat. It was all rotten, it all needed to come out, and the reason it was all rotten is because it had untinned copper, like this stuff here. See the brassy color there? And I wanted everything to be tinned, and now I've just closed all the tin, but tinned is basically silver like this. And my rigger put untinned cables going up the mast, and at the moment it's a massive job for me to redo it. So it's the only untinned wire on my boat is the stuff going up to the mast, If anything's going to corrode, it's going to be the hardest wires on the boat to do it. So there's a good example. You can see my Ocean Flex on top, the red wire is tinned copper. It's pretty much never going to corrode, and the bottom wire is plain copper. Yeah, so when these wires do eventually go, and I suspect they will at some point, I'm going to be climbing up a mast and pulling them all the way up and trying to replace them. It's going to be a very difficult job. Okay, and we're all done. Now the moment of truth. We're going to go and test things. So I'll first use the buttons. So let me open up my hatch. Nice and cool out there. And let's see if we can see the mast light. Mast light is currently on. And mast light was number 3, I think. There we go. Number 3 on, 3 off. That would be my anchor light. And my red-green lights. Let's see if I can see the red-green from where I am. There we go. All seems to be working. And one last job to do. I can show you how the switches work. So we switch things on and off, on and off, on and off. But obviously switch 1, switch 2 and switch 3 means nothing, so it says long press to edit switch name, so I'm going to long press. Switch 1 is red green nav. Red, oopsie. There we go. Switch 2 is, let me see, switch 2 is my deck light. And switch 3 is my anchor light. Yeah, you can also see some of the settings you can adjust. So if I press one button, I get all off, which is great. I can also do a timer, and I can say anchor light, set a new schedule, and every day of the week, and I want my anchor light to turn on at, let's make it 6 p.m. It'll work fine for summer. 6 p.m. Confirm. And then we can add another one. Let's save that schedule. Add another one. And we're going to say every day of the week. Anchor light off at 7 a.m. Save it. There we go. So my anchor light turns on at 6 p.m. and off at 7 p.m. I was struggling to film with my phone and press the buttons on the phone as well, because the minute you go away from the filming screen, it stops the video. But what I did remember is that you can actually use Alexa, because it's integrated into all of the smart switches on the boat. So I can show you this way. So, Alexa, turn on the deck light. Alexa, turn off the deck light. Alexa, turn on the nav lights. Alexa, turn off the nav lights. Alexa, turn on the anchor light. Alexa, turn off the anchor light. There you go. Pretty cool, isn't it? And this is the device I used. I'll put a link to it in the chat. And if you scroll down, you can see that there's a number of different options. And the option you're looking for is the one that runs on AC or DC, unless you want to use it in your house somewhere. And I have the bundle with the 4 channels and the shell. They've got a whole range of different ones. There's a 2-channel model and a 1-channel model. The only one I wouldn't get is the ones without the shell, unless you're going to build it into some other electronics, but I'm assuming you're going to be running it on a boat or RV or something like that. You definitely do want the shell to keep things safe. Yep, that's about it. Cheers.